blessed with some rain overnight, and boy did she come down. We even apparently had some wind. It knocked all my junk over. Guys, I am in cleanup and what's the technical jargon? Downsizing, I guess. Yes, the sheep are gone. They are rehomed. Kind of sad, I will admit, but also a huge element of, let's say, stress and kind of heartache. Every summer they were just absolutely 100% miserable. We would get them sheared, and then they would get irritated and rub, lick. Then they'd have open sores, open wounds all over them. Some they would never let heal, and then it gets late enough in the season, then the flies would come and drive them crazy. And all that despite trying to treat them with everything in the book. They were always miserable. I took them about, 45 minutes east of here to another farm, another family that's going to use them just as mowers for the same exact thing. This acreage was actually way too much for 4 sheep to keep eating down. Usually, where all these ugly weeds are, this is what they ate. And I'm sure you've noticed that through the years. But, every time I came out here and looked at them, I was ashamed and embarrassed, and I don't know what's going to happen here with the shop yet, but if something does happen, then all of this needed to go away anyway, and if we kept the sheep, all of it would have to be rebuilt. And this was a constant talking about the rubbing. They would constantly, no matter how much I reinforced inside, rub against the walls in there. And then it would break screws, the wind would catch the tin, and eventually, like you see, it just rips it off. The boys came out one day and cut all the clips off here. Need to take this down yet, but up here, had we kept them, I would have used this concrete pad. There was an old chicken barn here that got all this junk on, another source of irritation. I was gonna build an enclosed barn here and then extend, into the dirt their quarters, let's say. But this fence would have to move. All the fencing over on that side would have had to run more or less straight across here. Because I've talked, actually the same family that ended up taking the sheep, the patriarch, he and a son run a construction company, and I had him come out and look at the possibilities of adding on. I don't know that it's even possible, but with God all things are. So I'll wait on him, but we got to start somewhere. What we ended up doing is not what I always dreamt of doing, but I think it is, it's certainly easier, probably cheaper, quicker, makes more sense. What we're gonna draw out is a 50 by 100 off the east side of this shed. Now, originally what I wanted to do is when you come in on the drive, which is over by those trees and the pole there, you would consider this the front face of the shed, right? The west side. And so what I was going to do is build 50 wide onto this north face, or south face, excuse me, and 100 feet deep coming this way, coming south. Well, that gets into a whole lot of, it certainly can be done, but that gets into a whole lot of technical details on adding in a roof line especially to this existing building. And he said the easiest thing, because I wanted the first 20 feet to be office upholstery area, more or less. And he said probably what would be the smartest is to build that 50 by 20. Oh, that was a lot of lightning. 50 by 20, and do that first out of wood onto this, and then we could build the 50 by 80 basically out of either a stick kit or a steel, a steel built building onto that. And so we would have 3 different roof lines basically going on here in one small area. All of that is getting more expensive. All of that is getting kind of goofy looking. So I kind of nixed that idea. So if we build off an end wall, why wouldn't I build off the west side, since that's our front approach? Well, the previous owner put my water well right there. And although it might be possible with a high enough sidewall, ceiling height, to pull a well on the inside of a building, that would just be kind of odd, right? So rather than messing with any of that, I kind of nixed that idea as well. So therefore it leaves, if I want to add on, which I really, really do, keep it all under one roof, so to speak, that means building just a plain old 50 by 100 off the east side. And obviously our 2 roof lines wouldn't match unless we stick built it purposely to match. But then you get into more expense, and all of that. So all of that to say, things are in the works to just research the possibility of adding on. I'm now paying 3 times the amount of rent. Now, I mean, it was very reasonable. It was a blessing how much I was paying before on that other shop. And it still is very reasonable, I think, for shop space. It's not a great shop, no, but it is a place to work. But in my mind, money put towards rent every month, why not put that towards my own building? So 50 by 100, and my dream is then to do an extra. I told him let's price a 25 by 40 lean-to off the south side. That way I could put in, depending on how wide we actually go, whether it's 40 feet or not, at least say 25 by 20 would get the paint booth in that lean-to and not in the main shop area and take up all that extra space. So I would really have to figure out my drive. It comes there, and so I would really have to maybe even take out one of these cedars or 2, get a drive coming in here, because my overhead doors, one would basically be about here somewhere, and then the other down on the other end. And so especially if we have a truck and trailer or something we need to pull in, we would really have to sweep it around. There's a root cellar there. That's a pile of brush that needs to be cleaned up. But up the hill a little bit, there's another little deal of weeds, and that's the staircase going down. There's a root cellar over there. So this dirt could be eaten away. We could really make some room there. Obviously, sadly, my ancient elms are on their last legs, but we could certainly make room for a drive to swing her on around and on into here. So that's kind of a not so brief introduction to what I'm doing now. I am pulling posts over there. I've got dad-in-law's dump trailer, cleaning up scrap iron. Generally, everything here needs to be cleaned up and moved and just gotten ready in case, no big rush, but in case the possibility of things actually happening here. I kind of want to be ready for it. And unfortunately, I put that guy right where the shed needs to go. Maybe we can build around it. No, probably not. But like the co-op just down the road, or a lot of these farmers around here for moving bales have, you know, the big articulating earth movers, dirt movers, what do you call them, with the big scoops on the front, you know, and they can put forks on them and easily pick that thing up even loaded and move it wherever I want. So just trying to clean up and get a lot of this. It's just gotten out of hand and gotten junky. This where you live? I just, after years of seeing it out here, of course I didn't grow up out here, I finally looked it up. And if is correct. It's called Spanish needles. I don't know if it's more of a western, a plains thing, a southwestern thing. I don't know. It could be all over. The leaves, it always reminded me of carrots, right? Carrot top. But when it goes to seed in the fall, the blooms turn to little black, I don't know, 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch needles. And then it'd be interesting to look at them under a lens. They must have a very barbed little hairs, a series of hairs off the end of it. And they will stick to anything. Dogs, pants, shoes, breakfast cereals, whatever you have, you know. Nasty things, and they need to be trimmed out of here. Well, that's looking different, isn't it? Some of you may be wondering why I don't get help with this. Well, it's early Saturday morning. I never really know what on Saturdays I am going to end up doing. Whatever strikes my fancy when I walk out to the shed here, you know. And I'll show you a project why I haven't been working in here with you guys lately, what's going on there. But yeah, you know, I have never once in my life minded working alone. Actually, I've always preferred it. It's just the way I am. Now my family is always ready, willing, and able to help me, but it's times like this. It's cloudy, it's in the 70s, there's a nice breeze, and just came out and, hey, I can work outside this morning. It's already incredibly humid because of the rain. If that sun comes out, or when it comes out, you know, I'm going to be like, yeah, I'm gone, because it's going to spike up to 80-90% humidity, and I ain't working in that. Not if I don't have to. Anyway, here's what we're looking like. Got to go drop off my posts. there are certainly jobs where a skid steer shines and a worn out tractor from the 60s does not, but you know, it's what we have, and it did a decent job for now. There's a lot of pigweed stalks and roots and all the junk in there. We'll let it settle. I think we may get more rain, you know, in the next day or so, and we'll see what happens. I doubt I'll do anything else with it for now. But we could at least let it settle, and then we can mow here, and it's cleaned up. As for this lean-to, at the very least, I mean, it's, if plans go through, that's temporary at best. But I may take this inner wall out, and then I can scoot the tractor under there, and once I get a little more room back in the shed, the four-wheeler goes back in there. I hate having it out here. But if a shop does get built, so mine is 35 wide, I'm talking about a 50 wide. So if we center up the ridge lines, we'd hang 7.5 feet out from my sidewall. So that new shed would be, you know, this is a little longer, but it'd come roughly this far out. So obviously this would have to go away. And then big long-term plans, when that's all done, then a guy would like to come in and build 20 or 25 foot lean-to, you know, whatever your slope can accommodate. Open air storage on the south side here. Then a guy could park some cars and tractors and trailer or whatever he ends up with under that, and that would be neat. Now, as for distractions, I have this thing going on. Our little hideaway chalet in the tree. Not really. There's just a tree between you and the cabin. But anyway, so my wife and I had a dream. You may or may not know, we've homeschooled for years. Well, she has. I've sat idly by. But we always had a dream project. Building a quote-unquote cabin or small shed with each child, and inside there, you know, we're out of 3D printers and telescopes and rocks and computers and Legos, and their rooms are overflowing, and the house isn't that big, right? And this would be a place of a little bit of independence, and they could have their mass quantities of project stuff, you know, in there, and they could sleep in there, whatever they want to do. Well, dreams and plans always take longer, it seems, than you'd like, and this is the oldest boys, and we have built this from scratch, and we are still in the process. Oh, hey, it feels nice in here. The outside, I just need to finish up trim, and then I am cutting old roof panels that were from our house. They're still good. I'm over halfway done cutting them to length, and we'll get the roof on. Then the outside is pretty much done. We need to run electricity from that garage over to here somewhere. We're debating on what to do for water. We're not going to have running water in here per se, but I at least want water close by. Other than that, our guy came in, and our son came in and insulated this much of it all by himself, and he's been right in here with me doing it. And that was a big part of the dream, was they learn a lot of this construction process and so forth, and they're outside working with their hands, and ultimately they'll have something that they can use. And if we build them all this way, then someday if they want them, you know, when they move to their own house, it can be moved with them, you know, and they can take it along, or they'll never leave. That's a danger, you know. But anyway, outside's almost done. Inside, insulation, walls, electrical. You know, we got to get a mini split or a window unit in the wall or whatever we're gonna do. You know, there's a lot to do yet, but we're getting close, and that is what it is. He's gonna have a nice big loft up here, 8 foot deep, and then the 12 foot across. And then we've got a secondary loft. This just adds a lot of strength to the end walls, is why I'm especially doing this. They wanted 2 lofts anyway, but we got a secondary loft for storage or whatever up there. And that, my friends, is why, I mean, honestly, I really think it's possible I could have had the Corvair 100% done by now this summer. That storage room back in there, the final phase that I need to get back to, that hasn't been touched at all this summer since the last video you saw. And that's just the reason why. We've been, every spare moment I have, it's been building that cabin out there for our oldest guy. So anyway, what a mess. But I'm 2 hands. That's all I've got. Minus the broken grill, it's looking like a 90s commercial, Chevy commercial. Yeah, ready to work. And there we go. 2 days later, and it's raining in the morning. Got a low spot. Uh-oh. Oh well. It's so pretty. It's just burning. Well, good morning once again. It is now 1 week later. We're up at the butt crack of dawn, and I have a lot I wanted to do today around the farm, but apparently this is on my priority list. I want to get this atrocity cleaned up a little bit. We have everything from Chinese motorcycles with blown engines to washing machines and everything in between. So I'm gonna get to work and see if we can make some order out of this, and then we'll go do something else. Oh boy. Anyone need that? Ah, memories. As I look through here, I realize just how much stuff you guys have been right alongside with me here. My septic tank access tank we dug out. The old Chevy frame, we saw that in a couple, brought that home from Wisconsin, and then I took parts off of it, the engine and so forth with you guys. There's the, whatever, the little OSB Chevy pickup 4.3, the top of my grandpa's garage road sign stand. There's a 292, all the parts from the irrigation setup. Probably won't throw those away. Goodness, what else? Oh, and these running boards I've been putting in. That's from the 94 Dodge we repainted. flippin' Bermuda. Oh, oh, that is stout stuff, I tell you. All right. Oh, it's in the glass. Can a guy give another guy just a little bit of friendly advice just to take with you? You don't have to listen to it. That is always an option. But this is the result of just a couple of years work around here. You know, I do this every now and then. Every 2, 3, 4 years, I load up a trailer and take it for scrap. And there are plenty of guys, I know them, and so do you, you may be one of them, that never throw anything away, never clean anything up. Every single vehicle you have owned since you were 14 years old, you have on the yard, you know, and somebody is going to have to deal with that someday. And maybe it's the result of being a professional man, some kind of service, you know, and you have your own parts resources outside, a stockpile. I know how it is. I've got cars over there. Don't leave it for the kids to clean up. You know, if you're getting to a point where you are not using it day to day, start thinking about getting rid of it. If you're getting on long in the tooth, getting on in years, chances are your kids are only 20 years, you know, if you're 90, they're 70 or whatever. At 70 years old, did you feel like cleaning up garbage? The old man's garbage? No. Because I tell you what's going to happen. They're not going to feel like dealing with it, and all that stuff that is so important to you, it goes to the scrapyard, it gets burned, it gets auctioned off. They aren't going to care. The pain in the butt factor way outweighs anything they can get from it, right? You know, give them, set aside something special that they always liked and reminds them of you, or whatever. You know your deal, your situation. But to say the kids can clean it up, that is the pinnacle of self-centered or selfishness or laziness. And if you're already at the point you physically can't, can you tootle around a few hours a week, take a pickup out there and just clean up a little? Any little bit you do is going to help, right? A parent that prepares for their kids to not have to deal with that kind of stuff, that is a very thoughtful, loving parent. Anyway, on we go. And more importantly, at this time of my life, I get cash for all this. That is a huge consideration on my part. And I'm getting close to being done here. Now, I completely understand what it means to be a car guy or whatever you happen to be, a tractor guy. I don't know what you are. You got a stockpile of cars, you got a stockpile of car parts. The very best thing you can do, sorry about the wind, is to get that stuff as organized and labeled as you possibly can. Get some cardboard bins and start organizing them. It goes that quickly from a pile of junk and a headache that no one wants to deal with to something worth a lot of money, if people know what it is. You know, you have buckets of randomness. In the trailer they go. poor old thing. The ground is so soft, can't roll it. Okay. Hey, the boys' toy machine gun. There was my first attempt at a clip. They said to do it out of a tin can in the book, and it was just too flimsy. That's been a while, hasn't it? I didn't think I'd get everything on there that I wanted on there, but by Jiminy, we sure did her, didn't we? I'll continue to strap that down, get that tin secure, and that ought to ride. As far as the scrap yard, now my bride's on the riding mower at the opposite end of the yard. Otherwise, I would have had this kind of dressed, given a haircut a little bit more for you. I might scrape this down. You know, this sandy soil just builds up on everything. All of these are engines. A lot of these need to be gone through, scavenged for parts. Let me get over here, block the wind a little bit. Trailblazer engine, I'd like to get some parts off of that. That'd be a good block core anyway. But I don't know. I'm assuming a 283. We got a cast iron power glide. This thing been sitting outside for years, so the damage has been done. I'd like to tear it down and just look inside of it. A couple more 350s, same story. What do we got here? Old yeah, you go down there. Old axle that's rotten, but for some reason there's parts. I can't remember what I want off of there. Nothing probably good. So on and so forth. So guys, there you go. I don't know if cleanup time is necessarily exciting, but it is what it is. Hopefully we have some more exciting news in the near future. Like I say, we'll just see. Still looks like a mess. God bless you guys. See you on the next one.